We can move on and talk about Manchester City because it looks like there's been no changes to the APT rules in the new Premier League handbook. Do you think the Premier League could have won the ongoing case, Keith? Why? Or is there no verdict? What do you make of that potential insight into this?
Yeah, like everybody else, I was keen to see that handbook come out. I used to get it religiously every year, of course, and still look at it every year and go through it in detail. I'm afraid I'm that sad that I actually do that sort of thing. It may not be everybody's cup of tea to read through a handbook, I can assure you, but I still find it interesting for lots of reasons. It is sad. But yes, the interesting thing about the associated party transactions, you're right, there is no change. I think it may mean more than anything that the decision has not been reached. There may have to be some sort of amendment or some other timescale around the changes, etc. If the Premier League has won the decision, or in some way that City have backed down off this, that may be a sign. But that could all be part of the messaging that has to come out around the other charges that are coming through. And there may have been some agreement reached on the condition that it's kept very quiet and confidential. So there's all sorts of exciting, conspiracy theories, but I think basically my gut feeling's telling me that they just haven't reached a decision yet. But it's interesting that nothing did change as we thought it may well have done. But no, that reading is still the same.
What do you make of that then, given sort of that you've highlighted the case has been radio silent? It was due to go on for a few weeks. Now it's been months. How long could this take? And actually, could it potentially go on past the beginning of the Premier League season when it starts?
Yes, it could do. I mean, once you're in that legal rabbit hole, all sorts of different challenges and appeals can come in. It could take certainly another 6 months maximum, but I would hope they'd all want it resolved sooner rather than later. But one of the parties may have other agendas as to why they want to drag things on. And that's what we just don't fully know. So we'll have to wait and see.
And in terms of some transfer news, I know that Calvin Phillips has been linked with a move away potentially. Do you think would you take him at Everton? Would that be a good signing on loan?
Definitely. I've been very keen to see Calvin at Everton on loan. I think it would do him the world of good, because I think Calvin, to me, he feels like he's exactly the type of Everton player that feeds off the Sean Dyche energy and the whole bonding. And I think he's that sort of player that really gets it with the other players that he's with. I don't think he's like an egotistical, sort of solo, really high quality, talented player. Although he is a high quality player, I think he really revels in the teamwork situation. And I think he would be perfect in Goodison. I think the fans would love him. So I'm a big fan of getting him on loan. I know that he wants a permanent situation, but I don't think that'll come to fruition. And I'm hoping that the loan can still work for him and for the club.
For some insight in that, Keith, if City are looking at a permanent move, and if he wants a loan, or whatever the split is between the club and the player, what is the resolution? How do they come to an agreement?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, sometimes if you're Man City, you're looking at getting him out on loan to put him back in the shop window to a degree and see how he's doing, and get more interest to try and sell him either the second transfer window or again at the end of the season. I think they'd probably be pushing for the January transfer window if they could do. So that's what they're going to be wrestling with. Everton are going to be saying, well, we can't afford him to buy him, so we're going to have to say it's a loan. So somebody somewhere is going to make a decision as to whose imperative is more urgent. And, City have got to look at their own payroll, decide, do they want to have him on the bench, or would he be better off, getting the loan fees and his wages paid? I tend to think City will probably be the ones that give in on this one and get him out on loan. That's my feeling. But that's the two competing thought processes that will be going on between the clubs right now.
In terms of other potential exits, Keith, we know that Julian Alvarez, he's going to make his decision about his future at the club following the Olympics. What do you make of his career at the Etihad so far? And actually, do you expect him to leave this summer?
Yeah, I think he shone very brightly for a while, but I think now it just seems that things aren't going quite well. I don't know. I've got a feeling again that there's some sort of personal issues, family issues, perhaps, that they need to move elsewhere. And I think he will be gone. So I think that's another one that's his agent's working overtime to try and manufacture a move right now. So I don't expect him to be there for next season.
What's his valuation, do you think, in today's market?
That's a difficult one. Really, it depends on who's going to take him. I don't know. I think you'd be looking somewhere around about the 40 million mark, in my opinion. given he's not coming off a really great season. So I think that's what we're going to see around that sort of level.
I mean, similar potentially to John Duran and Ollie Watkins that we've discussed before, do you feel for him that Erling Haaland is there and the fact that he hasn't really been able to get a full run in the team because of Haaland's prolific form?
Well, it's hard to feel sorry for players unless they perform when they get their chance, and they've had chances. Haaland, of course, he's another one though, but he's kept his form going, and he's been very hard to dislodge from that squad. Also, a lot of Pep's style of play, and all leads to getting the balls into Haaland and having the balls down the wings, etc. So Haaland is perfect for Pep's model. That's why he's there. But listen, every player's got a chance when they come on to really excel, and so if it doesn't fit the formation, I don't think Grealish has particularly worked very well in the formations that Pep has played. So sometimes it isn't for you. And you've got to decide to go to another club, another manager who sees a different valuation and perhaps wants to build more of the play around you. But look, Haaland, you can't knock his results and the way he's been performing. He does deliver. He's a beast, and I'd be interested to see if he carries on this season. I think he will.
And to wrap up totally, Keith, on City, do you think they can go 5 in a row in the Premier League? Do they have the ability to do it? And actually, would that then round off Pep for arguably being the greatest manager in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think it's theirs to lose again. I think Arsenal are going to be very close, and interesting to see how Arne Slot comes out of the traps with his new season as well. But I think it's City's to lose again, and I think that would be a really emphatic full stop under Pep's reign. And I do think he may decide that's it. But I think he'd like to go out as a winner. I know that Jurgen tried to do that at Liverpool, didn't quite manage it really. But I think Pep would like to finish with a big exclamation mark. And so I think that's what I think City have got a really good chance to go forward. But of course, we all know injuries and all sorts of things can happen. The great soap opera of the Premier League about to start.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.